process discrimination good or bad? Yeah, is process discrimination any variant? Is it good or bad? Is it a good thing that monopolists, by monopolists I mean anyone with monopoly power, so it's not just monopolists, anyone with monopoly power will process discriminate. Is it good for them to process discriminate or bad to process discriminate? Overall, is it good for society or bad? Should it be outlawed or it's fine? Which one is it? Is the yeah?
I guess maybe we can have some regulations because if you listen like to a full extent, it may cause problem, right?
It's not regulated at all. They can process discriminate. It's actually good. Process discrimination allows for more sale, more consumers being served, less dead weight loss. If you think about it, Rogers process discriminate. They charge different prices for the cities and rural areas. If they don't process discriminate, they're not going to serve the rural areas. All right? So process discrimination allows more consumers to be served. The only problem with it is, if you're considered high reservation price, they're going to charge you more. So there should be laws set against that. Make sure information is not shared. All right? Because if they identify a high reservation price, they're going to charge you more price. Obviously, if you're an international student, you cannot hide that. They're going to charge you more price. But that's a good thing. If U of T did not have international students, we would have closed many programs. Because they can 65% of U of T fundings come from international students. That's how much it is. 65%. Is it U of T or UTSC? One of these two. I think UTSC. If actually did not have foreign students, they would have shut down a lot of programs. So overall, it's a good thing. Basically, the high reservation students subsidize the other one. That's a good thing. You have more serving, but if you're identified at high reservation price, you're not going to like it. You'll be charged more. Right? Anyway, that's the reason it's not illegal. The only thing illegal is companies cannot share information about consumers, because that will allow companies to identify the consumers. That's sort of what is being made illegal. Okay, let's see what we have. This is single pricing monopolies. That was the margin value for it. That was the marginal cost. That's a single pricing monopolies. That is what single pricing monopolies choose to produce. And that's the price they set. A perfectly process discriminating monopolist goes all the way to here though. So perfectly process discriminating monopolist put P equal to MC, decides how much overall they produce, while single pricing monopolists put MR equal to MC. That looks strange. Mathematically, if you want to maximize your profit, you should put MR equal to MC. That's mathematics. You put what you get from last unit sold equal to the marginal cost. How come perfectly processed discriminating does not do that? Or they do that, we don't see it. Why perfectly processed discriminating monopolist does not put MR equal to MC, when mathematically should be the case? How can they maximize their profit then? Anyone? Wow. This is single pricing margin value. The margin value for single pricing monopolist was lower than the price. Because the more they sell, the lower the price. The reason MR fell below the price because you cannot price discriminate. If you want to sell extra unit, you have to reduce the price on anyone before. But for perfectly priced discriminating monopolists, the price they charge will be the margin value. Whatever you sell the next unit at, that is what you get from last units. Makes sense? You don't have to give discount. So this was single pricing MR, while this becomes perfectly priced discriminating MR. So both put MR equal to MC. But this is perfect price discrimination MR, which is the price. That is single pricing monopoly. So both put MR equal to MC, but they have different MRs. One is the price they charge, one is lower than the price they charge. Right? Make sense? Okay. If you take MR minus MC and sum it up in the continuous wall integrated, what do you get? What did that area in between becomes? Anyone? We take the area between marginal revenue and marginal cost calculated, i.e. integrate the space. What do you get? You get producer surplus. What's the other name for it? Variable profit. So for perfectly priced discriminating monopolies, that was variable profit. That's the variable profit? My mistake. That was the variable profit for perfectly priced discriminating monopolies. That is what they get, ignoring the fixed cost. Make sense? Perfectly priced discriminating monopolies get that in surplus. Right? Just a side note. You may say, this is not the case. We had it differently. We had this before. We had this as producer surplus. They are the same. This and this, they are the same. Makes sense? There are two ways to calculate the surplus for a single pricing monopolist. Either get that area which we were doing up to this point, or get this whole thing. It's the same thing. Anyway, but mathematically you can see what I mean here. If you take the area between MR and MC, which is the shade area, and sum it up, that's the producer surplus, which is variable profit. Make sense? That is for single pricing. For perfectly processing monopolies, you will find that area to be surplus, because this is not margin value. Right? So the difference in the producer surplus, which is difference in variable profit, which is difference in the actual profit, would be this area. Moving from single pricing to perfect price discrimination give you that in excess profit. Right? As a result, loss of incentive to price discriminate. Right? The less elastic demand, the more you can increase your profit by discriminating. All firms do it. Anyone with monopoly power, they have multiple prices. Right? Make sense? Okay. You know, years ago, well, I went to, I think it was Tim Hortons. I went to Tim Hortons to get a coffee, and years ago, like 10 years ago, and the teller there gave me a senior discount. And I'm thinking, should I tell them I'm not senior? I said, no, I'll take the discount. I left. But anyway, for them, I was like 1 million years old. They were kids. Okay. You should be able to answer this one now. The first degree price discrimination is not efficient. True or false? False. It is efficient. It gives, it basically ends up with competitive outcome. Leaves no deadly loss. That is false. Is efficient. The only problem with it, consumer gets nothing. All the surplus is transferred to producer. So consumer doesn't like it, but when you talk about efficiency, you talk about overall. Right? Make sense? Okay. And the numerical question from it is this one. Let's do this. Numerically is the same question as last session, but I changed it to use for a different purpose. That is the inverse demand what is the margin revenue for single monopolist, not perfectly price discriminating monopolist. That price will be margin revenue for perfectly price discriminating monopolist. Let's call it PPD. So they have two different margin revenues, right? That's the demand. That's a single pricing margin revenue. This is margin revenue for perfectly priced discriminating monopolies. Right? Make sense? And that is the marginal cost. That's the marginal cost. Perfectly priced discriminating monopolist chooses this quantity. I put their own MR, so that is perfect price discrimination. Sorry, single pricing, single. Single pricing monopolists put their MR equal to MC, and the quantity for them will be 20, that's 20. Right?
Shouldn't it be 2.5 cubed?
2.5. This is 2.5. I'm right with the number because I have it in my brain, but not for the. That's 20. And they collect this in surplus. That's a surplus. They collect. That's their variable profit. So the producer surplus, variable profit for single pricing monopolist is that area which is 250 multiplied by 20 divided by 2, that is 2500. If you calculate it using the other method, it's the same. Try it, you get the same thing. Make sense? Try this, get the price, get the quantity, calculate this area. It's the same. Right? Technically, these areas are the same. There are two ways to calculate surplus. Right? Make sense? Try it, you'll get the same thing. So I calculate it this way because I will compare it with non-perfectly discriminating monopolists. Sorry, what perfectly discriminating monopolists. PPD, perfectly passing monopolists, will put their own MR, which is the price, that is the price, equal to MC, and choose the quantity. How much is the quantity? It would be 22 and how much? 22? Should be 22. 22, right? 22 point? Oh, I remember. 22? Is it? So the producer surplus for perfectly priced monopolists, which is their variable profit, would be, if I can use the color that blue, this area. That's the distance between MR and MC summed up, which should be 250 multiplied by 22.22 divided by 2. How much is that? 27? 75? Or 50? One of these two. I know there's 27 there. 27? Is it 27.75 or 27.50?
27,745.
Rounded, 27.75? Like this?
277. So 3 sevens.
3 sevens.
Yeah.
3 sevens.
Point five.
So, hold on. So the change in the profit in the producer surplus, which will be equal to the change in the variable profit, which is equal to the change in the profit, because the fixed cost is fixed, the same for both cases. That should be the difference between these two. That is 277.15. On the graph, you're finding this area. See, you're finding this area. This area. That is the difference in the profit between these two. This is not a lot, because this monopoly does not have a lot of power. The demand is sort of elastic, not a lot of power there. The more monopoly power, the bigger the change in the profit. If you compare it on different cases. Fine? Make sense? Okay? Okay. That is it. We are done. We are. BO2 is done. The final is in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And sort of like the midterm, format-wise, you have short questions and long questions, right? Very much the same. The long questions are sort of stuff we did. Long questions we did. If I were you, I would have done the long questions. Yeah. Like this. If I was doing the final, I would have probably done the long question first. The more predictable. Right? You don't want to spend like 20 minutes on a 5-point question, then miss it. And then at the end run out of time, right? Make sense? So if I were you, I would have done long questions. An hour or so long question, that's probably finished or whatever, half the time. Think about 50-50, then spend time with the short ones. All the questions we done, all of them I think we showed up on the final are stuff we did. Either change numbers, flip question, or written differently. But all of them sort of we did, right? Might be 5 points here and there. That looks different. But nothing should look different, right? So practice what you did, learn it. Don't memorize it because it's not the same one. And you don't have a cheat sheet, right? You put it there, then you have to think about it. If you get it wrong, the whole thing goes wrong, right? So learn it. You have plenty of time. And if you want to practice, it's a good idea to probably study backward. Do the last 3 lectures. Those are the easiest ones, mathematically. There's a lot of stuff there. Little stuff, but it's not something mathematically challenging. Do the last 3. The producer theory has a lot of technical stuff. Do that too. And then make sure you go back to the midterm. There will be 30% or so from the first half. Yeah.
When are you going to post the practice?
It's already posted. Don't have it. The problem with the practice is it's sort of dated now, right? It changes. The long questions are sort of close. The short questions change all the time, right? So you have to be careful with it. But if you take the quizzes stuff we did in class, that's the closer resemblance. Right? On the short one. The long one are more or less the same. Close enough. But the short questions change all the time. And check what we did. Check your quizzes. It's very close. Alright? Make sense? How close was the midterm to what we did? It's sort of the same distance. Having said that, you have 11 lectures. That's far more. More material makes it harder to concentrate, right? Make sense? That's the reason I say study backward, do the second half questions, then spend time on the first half questions. Hopefully do well enough. And well enough is relative, right? Who knows what well enough is, right? I got an email from someone long time ago, thanking me. I said, I don't remember anything. I checked the student, got 50. That's not, I'm not making it up. Someone got 50. I don't think I helped him at all. Like basically, he got like 40 and change. I give 50 to whoever gets more than 47, right? I give 50. He thought I helped him, right? It's not. But for someone, 50 was fine. For someone, I got someone who petitioned 3 times, got 89, wanted 90. Never got the 90, but he was just trying to get 90. What's the difference, right? Your mark is 89. Why you push it, right? There's nothing on the paper. You got 89 there, but you petitioned 3 times. Right? He asked for a reread. He asked to see his paper. He wanted on petition, spent all the money. He wanted 90, right? Because 89 wasn't good enough. It's all relative, right? Oh. Anyway, but bring your sitting up. 50 is not good. 60 is not good. 70 and up is good. That's what I think, right? Bring it up, study harder. Hopefully do well. On the quiz, on the last quiz, just the last quiz, I have a personal survey at the end. Just the last one. See the last one? It's a survey. You answer it, and my TA pull that up and give me your answer. So I see your answer, I don't see your name. So be free on whatever you want to write. It's about the delivery of the course. It says 3 ways we can have the course. Old-fashioned. That's the recorded videos. That's the way we were used to do it. Make sense? So the class becomes PowerPoint was taped in class. That's the old one, right? That's 1. 2, flipped classroom, which is what we did, but without the quiz. That's the second one, which we did before we added the quiz. And third one is what we did. All right? Don't make a 4th option. There's no 4th option. Don't say there's nothing else. There's 3 versions of it, right? Which one you like, rank them, and say why. Make sense? Right? Okay. Make sure to fill it up, because if you don't fill up, the TA is not going to mark it. It's going to black mark. So it has marks. It has marks. Although I don't see the name, but it has marks. That is this. See, I don't finish the whole thing. I'm going to go get the rest. Just a note. This is not the this is not the survey. The review, you have to go on Kirk's and do it. And some of you have done it. 7%. I have the percentage. 7% is 4.5 people. That's what it is. Go down and fill it up. Go down and fill it up. Start this one. Don't mix it up.